The metallic screech of Karen Thompson's screen door punctuated the quiet Sunday morning like a judge's gavel. Marcus Rodriguez knew exactly what was coming before she even opened her mouth. Another critique, another complaint, another attempt to dictate the aesthetics of Maple Grove Lane. He stood beside his pride and joy, a 2018 Tesla Model 3 in a unique matte lavender finish. Most neighbors found the color unconventional but interesting. Not Karen. To her, it was an affront to suburban sensibilities, a visual disruption in her meticulously beige world. "Marcus," she called out, her voice carrying the shrill pitch of someone perpetually dissatisfied. "We need to talk about that monstrosity you're calling a car." Marcus took a deep breath, his fingers absently tracing the smooth curve of the Tesla's door. He'd chosen this color after months of careful consideration. It wasn't just a paint job, it was a statement. A rebellion against the monotonous sea of white, black, and silver vehicles that populated their neighborhood's driveways. Karen approached, her leopard print cardigan rustling with each indignant step. At 62, she had appointed herself the unofficial HOA enforcer, neighborhood fashion critic, and self-proclaimed guardian of suburban aesthetic standards. Her silver bob was perfectly coiffed, her makeup immaculate, a sharp contrast to her perpetually disapproving expression. "This color," she began, gesturing dramatically at the car, "is completely inappropriate. It's not just an eyesore, it's bringing down property values. Have you considered how this affects the entire neighborhood?" Marcus knew Karen's repertoire by heart. Property values, neighborhood standards, community appearance, these were her greatest hits. He'd lived next door to her for 7 years, and not once had she offered a compliment that wasn't backhanded or a suggestion that wasn't thinly veiled criticism. What Karen didn't know was that Marcus wasn't just a graphic designer who happened to love unique automotive aesthetics. He was an engineer with a passion for creative problem-solving and an increasingly mischievous sense of humor. Her constant complaints weren't wearing him down, they were fueling something magnificent in his imagination. The lavender Tesla represented more than just a car to Marcus. It was an extension of his personality, unconventional, vibrant, and unapologetically unique. He spent weeks customizing every detail, from the custom wheel rims to the subtle iridescent flecks in the paint that caught sunlight in mesmerizing ways. Property values, Marcus repeated, a hint of amusement dancing in his eyes. "Karen, this is Silicon Valley. Unique is currency around here." She cuffed her perfectly drawn eyebrow, arching in disapproval. "Silicon Valley or not, there are standards. Community standards. This car looks like it belongs in a pop star's music video, not in a respectable suburban neighborhood." Little did Karen know, her words were about to inspire a transformation that would become the stuff of neighborhood legend. Marcus wasn't just going to defend his car, he was going to elevate it into a spectacle that would make her critique seem like a mere whisper in the wind. As Karen continued her tirade, Marcus's mind was already racing with possibilities. Solar-powered disco lights, that was just the beginning of his plan to turn her criticism into the most epic automotive statement Maple Grove Lane had ever witnessed. That evening, Marcus's home office became a war room of creativity. Blueprints, electrical diagrams, and solar panel schematics covered every inch of his oversized drafting table. Empty coffee mugs and half-eaten energy bars testified to the hours of intense planning. His best friend and fellow engineer, Rachel Chen, video-called just as he was connecting yet another experimental circuit board. Her face appeared on the large monitor framed by the organized chaos of his workspace. "Please tell me you're not actually going through with this disco light revenge plan," Rachel said, her voice a mix of amusement and professional skepticism. Marcus grinned, rotating a prototype solar panel mount. "Oh, I'm absolutely going through with it. This isn't just about Karen anymore. It's become an engineering challenge." Rachel knew Marcus well enough to recognize that glint in his eye, the same look he'd get when a seemingly impossible technical problem presented itself. What had started as neighborhood drama was rapidly evolving into a full-scale technological project. The initial concept was deceptively simple: create a solar-powered lighting system for his Tesla that would not only be functional, but would transform the car into a mobile art installation. But Marcus never did anything by halves. He was designing a system that would be environmentally sustainable, technologically innovative, and most importantly, absolutely spectacular. "The solar panels will be integrated directly into the car's existing paint," he explained, zooming in on his digital mock-up. "Thin-film photovoltaic cells that are virtually invisible during the day but can generate enough power to run a complex LED lighting system at night." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "You do realize this goes way beyond proving a point to Karen, right?" Marcus shrugged. "Sometimes the best revenge is living, or in this case, driving well. Plus, think about the potential applications. If I can make this work, it could be a breakthrough in automotive solar integration." His research was meticulous. He'd already calculated the exact angle of solar absorption, studied the light diffraction properties of various LED configurations, and developed a custom control system that would allow for programmable light displays. The neighborhood might see this as an act of rebellion, but Marcus saw it as innovation. Karen's criticism had inadvertently sparked something far more significant than a simple automotive modification. This was about pushing boundaries, challenging conventional design, and proving that creativity could transform even the most mundane criticism into something extraordinary. By midnight, several prototypes lay scattered across his workspace. Each represented a step closer to his vision. A car that wasn't just transportation, but a statement. A mobile canvas that would challenge perceptions and, most satisfyingly, silence Karen's constant complaints. Rachel's final words before signing off echoed in the quiet room. "Just promise me you won't get arrested for municipal light pollution." Marcus just smiled. The real show was yet to begin. 3 weeks passed, and Maple Grove Lane buzzed with an unusual energy. Neighbors began to notice subtle changes to Marcus's lavender Tesla. Strange U panels seemed to shimmer almost imperceptibly when sunlight hit just right. Whispers and sideways glances followed Marcus whenever he pulled into his driveway. Karen Thompson, however, was not content with mere whispers. She had escalated her campaign against Marcus at automotive rebellion. Homeowners Association meetings became her personal platform, each gathering punctuated by her increasingly dramatic complaints about the eyesore parked next door. "It's not just a car anymore," she'd dramatically tell anyone who would listen. "It's a statement of pure chaos." Little did she know, Marcus was meticulously documenting every moment. His security cameras captured her animated complaints, her frustrated gestures, the way she would wave her hands dramatically whenever his car was mentioned. Each recording was another piece of inspiration for his ultimate plan. The local tech community had caught wind of Marcus' project. Whispers spread through online forums and local engineering meetups. What was Marcus Rodriguez doing to that Tesla? Speculation ran wild. Some thought it was an experimental solar coating. Others believed he was developing some kind of advanced camouflage technology. Marcus' workplace, a cutting-edge sustainable energy startup, became an unexpected epicenter of curiosity. Colleagues would corner him in the break room, fishing for details about his mysterious project. "Is it true?" his coworker Jake would ask, leaning in conspiratorially. "Are you really turning your car into some kind of mobile light show?" Marcus would just smile, a mischievous glint in his eye. Let's just say Karen Thompson won't know what hit her. Meanwhile, the Rodriguez household became a fortress of secrecy. Packages arrived daily, specialty LEDs, advanced solar panels, custom-designed circuit boards. Marcus's garage had transformed into a high-tech laboratory, with Rachel Chen often stopping by to offer technical advice or simply marvel at the complex system taking shape. The neighborhood watched and waited. Children pressed their faces against windows when Marcus's car was in the driveway. Dog walkers would slow their pace, hoping for a glimpse of whatever was happening. Even the local teenagers, usually disinterested in suburban drama, found themselves caught up in the anticipation. Karen, for her part, had taken to patrolling the neighborhood with increased vigor. She would slow her golf cart whenever she passed Marcus's house, squinting suspiciously at the covered vehicle in the driveway. Her neighborhood watch meetings became increasingly frantic, her descriptions of the impending automotive disaster growing more elaborate with each telling. "Mark my words," she declared to her fellow HOA members, "this is not just about a car. This is about the very fabric of our community." Little did she know that the fabric of the community was about to be illuminated in ways she could never imagine. Marcus' project was nearly complete, a perfect fusion of technical brilliance and creative revenge. The solar-powered disco lights were ready, and Maple Grove Lane would never be the same again. The summer solstice arrived with an electric anticipation that seemed to crackle through Maple Grove Lane. Marcus had chosen this day purposefully. The longest day of the year would provide maximum solar charging for his ultimate creation. At precisely 8:37 p.m., as the last remnants of sunlight began to fade, Marcus rolled his lavender Tesla out of the garage. The car looked deceptively normal at first glance. Its unique color caught the dying light, the subtle iridescent flecks hinting at something more. Neighbors began to emerge from their houses. Dogs stopped mid-bark. Even the evening joggers paused, sensing something extraordinary was about to happen. Karen Thompson had just finished her evening routine of watering her precisely manicured rose bushes when she noticed the movement. Her pruning shears dropped to the ground with a metallic clang. Marcus pressed a small, custom-designed remote control, a device he'd spent weeks programming with Rachel's help. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, almost imperceptibly, the car began to change. Tiny solar panels, previously invisible, began to glow with a soft luminescence. They were integrated so seamlessly into the lavender paint that they looked like an extension of the car's surface. The first wave of light started slowly, a subtle pulse that matched the rhythm of an unheard beat. Then everything exploded into color. LED strips hidden along the car's contours burst to life. Not just any lights, these were precision-engineered solar-powered disco lights that transformed the Tesla into a mobile light show. Patterns of blues, purples, greens, and reds danced across the surface, synchronized to an intricate light show that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. But Marcus wasn't done. The lighting system was programmed with multiple modes. The first was a subtle, almost artistic display that highlighted the car's unique lavender base. The second was pure, unbridled disco fever. Classical music suddenly gave way to the iconic opening beats of the Bee Gees' Stayin' Alive. The lights synchronized perfectly with the music, creating a mobile dance floor that would make Studio 54 look tame by comparison. Karen stood frozen, her mouth open in absolute shock. Her perfectly coiffed hair seemed to deflate in real time. The neighborhood watch meetings, the complaints, the endless critiques, they all culminated in this moment of spectacular defeat. Children began to cheer. Teenagers pulled out their phones to record. Even the most stoic neighbors couldn't help but laugh and applaud. Marcus rolled down his window, a broad smile spreading across his face. "Evening, Karen," he called out casually as if he were driving a completely normal car. The Tesla continued its light show, now transitioning into a complex pattern that seemed to spell out words in intricate light displays. For those paying close attention, the lights momentarily formed the words "neighborhood spirit" before dissolving back into a mesmerizing dance of color. It was more than a revenge. It was a statement. A celebration of creativity, innovation, and the ability to transform criticism into art. And Karen Thompson? She could only watch in stunned silence as the most spectacular car in Silicon Valley history rolled past her perfectly pruned rose bushes. The morning after the great disco car reveal, Maple Grove Lane would never be the same. News vans lined the street, their satellite dishes pointed toward Marcus's house like technological sunflowers. Local tech blogs and social media had exploded overnight. The hashtag #DiscoTesla was trending, with millions of views across multiple platforms. Marcus discovered he'd accidentally become an overnight sensation. Calls poured in from automotive design firms, sustainable energy companies, and even a few late-night talk show producers. His inbox was a chaotic symphony of job offers, interview requests, and collaboration proposals. The Homeowners Association meeting that week was nothing short of legendary. Karen Thompson, usually the most vocal member, sat in stunned silence as Marcus was unexpectedly praised for bringing unprecedented attention to their previously unremarkable suburban neighborhood. Tourism had spiked. Local businesses reported increased foot traffic from people hoping to catch a glimpse of the famous disco car. "The solar integration is actually quite impressive," muttered Tom Henderson, the association's most technically minded member, studying the detailed schematics Marcus had brought to the meeting. "Those photovoltaic cells are unlike anything I've seen before." Rachel Chen couldn't stop laughing when Marcus called her that evening. "You've turned neighborhood drama into a global technology showcase," she said, wiping tears of mirth from her eyes. Only you could turn Karen's criticism into a career-defining moment. But the most unexpected twist came from Karen herself. After days of silence, she approached Marcus in his driveway, her typical confrontational stance replaced by something between grudging respect and genuine curiosity. "I suppose," she began, her voice unusually measured, "that there might be more to this car than I initially thought." Marcus raised an eyebrow, waiting. "The light show," Karen continued, "was quite something. My grandson hasn't stopped talking about it. He says you're like a real-life superhero of technology." It was the closest thing to a compliment Marcus had ever heard from her. The lavender Tesla, now adorned with its solar-powered disco lights, had become more than just a car. It was a symbol of creativity, a middle finger to suburban conformity, and most surprisingly, a bridge between two previously warring neighbors. Local schools began requesting Marcus to give talks about sustainable technology and creative problem-solving. The disco car had become an unexpected educational tool, inspiring young students to think beyond conventional boundaries. Tech conferences started calling. A major sustainable energy conference invited Marcus to showcase his innovative solar panel integration. What had begun as an elaborate act of neighborhood revenge was transforming into a genuine technological breakthrough. As the sun set on Maple Grove Lane, Marcus looked at his Tesla, no longer just a car, but a statement, an artwork, a technological marvel. Karen's criticism had inadvertently launched him into a whole new world of possibilities. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well. Sometimes it's illuminating the world in ways no one ever expected.